Hey, good morning. Come. Now we can start.
Waiting for me.
We start ready? Start. Wow. Good morning. Welcome to this cool morning. Praise God for the change in temperature. But we are blessed. I believe in here it's a bit more hazy than this. We want to welcome a new student, a sister. Just join us. Well, we have been covering the book of Job. We have thus far covered 28 chapters. And right now, we are in the midst of Job's longest reply, from chapters 26 to chapter 31. And we are listening to the last words, the last reply from Job, before someone else speaks, and then God will answer Job. Now, in this few chapters that we are covering, chapter 28, we find that he was getting a bit poetic. He was talking about creation and so on. Now, as we come to chapter 29, he talks about the past, and then chapter 30, he talks about the present, and 31, he talks about the future. So let's start with chapter 29. So Father, once again we ask of you to fill this place with your presence, fill the atmosphere, fill our hearts, fill our minds with everything of you, and even the word that is before us. Lord, speak to us even through your written word, we ask. In Jesus' name. Amen. So I've got 2 pointers up there for you. So try and listen and copy if you must. This is the situation of one who thinks of the good old days. You know, there is a song, those were the days, my friends. And people like to think of their glorious past. It is okay. It is okay. But don't cling on to your past. Because God will do a new thing. And tomorrow's should be better than yesterday. Verse 1. Job further continued his discourse and said, "Oh, that I were as in months past, as in the days when God watched over me." In the first 6 verses of this chapter 29, as I've written there, the presence and protection of God. And in this chapter, you will find he has got this sickness called itis, if you understand. I-itis, you know. Itis is always the medical term for sickness. It's I, it's me, it's mine. Everything is about him. So you see, oh, that I were as in months past. That means in time past. As in the days when God watched over me. When God was guarding him. When God was guarding him, the protection of God. And he recognized, even in this statement, that his prosperity, his blessings, before the calamity hit his family, they were not of his own doing. It was God who blessed him. So, when God was guiding me, and when God was guiding him, verse 3, when his lamp shone upon my head, and when by his light I walked through darkness. So when he watched over me, when he was guarding me, when his light shined upon my head, that was when he was guiding me, guarding and guiding me. So the presence of God, of upon him, the protection of God upon him. So those were the days. Better days they were than he was going through at the present. And of course they were. If you remember, Job chapter 1, verse 1 to verse 5, when God said that he was blameless and upright, one who feared God, shunned evil, 7 sons, 3 daughters, possessions, 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, and so on and so forth. He was blessed. So now as we go on to verse 4, just as I was in the days of my prime, when I was in my youth, in my younger days, when the friendly counsel of God was over my tent. So in those days, God was friendlier towards me. Now He's not so friendly. Now He caused me to have all this eczema and so on. Those days He was friendlier. When the Almighty was yet with me, when my children were around me, He missed His children really, truly. And He also speaks of the family altar, when the children are around me. And for parents, even at the premarital counseling class and so on, I teach them, I advise them that as they raise their family, even especially when the kids are young, it's good to have a family altar. Good to pray with your kids, study with them, teach them the Word of God on a regular basis. I used to do it on a daily basis after dinner, and my wife will do it before they sleep. And we do it even when we travel on holidays. Before we put on our ski gear to go out to ski, in the morning we do some study. That is the family altar. And Job missed that because every morning he was interceding for each and every of his children. When my children were around me, when my steps were bathed with cream, and the rock poured out rivers of oil for me. You know what verse 6 is speaking? He's speaking of his prosperity. Now, he was very prosperous. He was very rich. He had lots of herds. And he got his plantation and so on. When he had lots of herds, animals, they would have produced milk and curds and cream. You understand? And butter. So when you have lots of all this cream, it speaks of prosperity, that you are wealthy. You have. Because if you have only one cow versus someone who has got many cows, he got more curds and more cream than you. Maybe you just take planta, but he got many more. Okay. And what about the rock poured out rivers of oil for me? Well, out of the rock, I thought only come out water. How come got oil? Now, he had his olive plantation. And then they were brought in. And all this, they have to be pressed for oil, right? And so the oil press was made from stone. The oil press was made from stone. So what his workers would have done, put the olives there, and then using the oil press made of stone to grind. And then oil come forth. Understand? So, if you have got big plantation, big harvest, lots of olives, you get more oil. Understand? So that speaks of wealth. So in one verse, it is so rich the meaning. So when I first read this, I didn't understand. I had to go and do research, look into history, culture, and so on, to find out what exactly it means. So, as I told you, the last 1 minute. Okay? So he speaks about his flocks, his fields. He was indeed blessed. Verse 1 to 6, the presence and protection of God. Now, question. He complained and he grumbled as if God was not watching over him anymore. Am I right? Was God not watching him? Still. God was still watching him. But sometimes when we are down with illness, with crisis, with problems and so on, we think that God has forsaken us. But God said, I will never leave you and I will never forsake you. I'm still with you. Yeah. Even through the dark valleys of deep darkness. So, we move on to verse 7. But before that, let's look at Philippians 1:6. Philippians 1:6. God is not done with Job yet. Because what he has started, he will see to its completion. So Philippians 1:6. We have heard this so many times. Being confident of this very thing, that he who has begun a good work in you will complete it until the day of Jesus Christ. God who has started a work, a good work in Job, will see to its completion. Because in Job chapter 1 verse 1 he said, good, blameless, upright man and so on. God was praising him. And God is not going to add a full stop to it. It is just a pause to test him. And so God has started a good work in each and every one of us. Whichever is your ministry, wherever he has placed you. Whatever you are going through, don't give up. God will see to its completion. And the other one I need to show you, Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 10. As I started this morning, don't cling on to the past too much. Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 10. Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 10. Ecclesiastes chapter 7 verse 10. Do not say, why were the former days better than this? For you do not inquire wisely concerning this. So, don't grumble about the past. If you believe in our God, who is full of riches, and he has the best for us, so, the best is yet to be, you understand? Tomorrow is going to be better than today. Because eventually, we are going to leave this place and we are going to a mansion that God has built for us. It's better than here, definitely. Okay, so don't cling on to your past. So now, as we move on to the second part of chapter 29, from verses 7 to 25, we find respect from all. So now he is sitting back, he is reliving his past, those days, even the mosquitoes fly around me and they bow down to me. Everyone kowtow to me. Wow, I am so popular, I'm so grand. Okay, that is from verse 7 to 25. Verse 7, when I went out to the gate by the city, when I took my seat in the open square. I'm sure you know by now, in the olden days, the city has a wall and there is a gate. And at that gate, that is like the central square where transactions are made, where justice is applied or administered. People got problems and then whenever they come to that city, the city square at the gate, and they will judge and they will whatever, do the necessary. And who will be there? The leaders, the elders. And for him, he said, when I went to the gate by the city, I took my seat in the open square. He was a man of influence. He was one of the leaders, if not the leader. But later we will see he is almost the leader. He took his seat in the open square. The young man saw me and hid people, when they see a big senior politician, run, hide, scared. And the aged stood, arose and stood. I thought the old people sit, the young ones stand. But Job is saying, even the old people saw me and they stood up. Wow, this must be Mr. Somebody. That was how he saw himself. So you understand, though God said he was blameless, but there was something within Job that God wanted to correct. But Job, until that point in time, still did not have a broken spirit, did not say, God, I'm guilty. He still wanted to defend himself. He still pleaded his innocence. Verse 9. The princes refrained from talking and put their hand on their mouth. Princes, by now princes are leaders. Like in our church, equivalent would be like cell group leaders, ministry leaders. They are not elders, but they are, leaders in their own ministry. So the princes, they saw him. You understand? So see the boss coming up, put their hand on the mouth. They shut up. The voices of nobles was hushed, and their tongue stuck to the roof of their mouth. Rich people don't give you too much of respect because they have their own agenda, they got their own program, they got their own conversation. Why should they pause when you come? But you are somebody, so they all suddenly keep quiet, and their tongue stuck to the roof of their mouth. Try and talk with your tongue on the roof of your mouth. A bit challenging, right? Can't. When the ear heard, then it blessed me. When the eye saw, then it approved me. Wow, they must have given him Outstanding Citizen of the Year. National Day Gold Award. That is how he saw himself. He was very popular. But remember Proverbs chapter 16 verse 18. What is Proverbs 16:18? Proverbs 16:18. Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. It always happens that way. You are so proud that you are always looking up, and you miss the longkang in front of you. Boom! There you fall. So back to chapter 29. Verse 12. Am I going too slow? No. Because, from verse 12 onwards, he talks about social concern. Whether we can match up to his social works, his social concern ministry. What did he do? Because I delivered the poor who cried out, the fatherless and the one who had no helper. He wasn't as what his three friends accused him of, that he was not helpful, he was not compassionate. But he said, the poor who cry out to me, I help them. The fatherless and the one who had no helper, I help them. The blessing of a perishing man came upon me, and I caused the widow's heart to sing for joy. A widow is always very, if you remember my last sermon, was it last Saturday or the previous Saturday I preached? Widow status is very low. First of all, a woman's status is low. So she has to depend on her husband to fend for the family, to provide for the family. Now that the husband is gone, and she is alone. And if she has got no son to stand in the place of the husband as man of the house, she is really pitiful. Socially, she is put aside. So a lot of widows resort to begging for living. But here, Job, I brought joy to the widow. You understand? This is called self-praise. Okay? Self-praise is social disgrace. Somebody say what? Self-praise is world disgrace or something like that.
Self-praise is no praise.
Self-praise, no praise. It's disgrace. Complete the poem. So he was telling you he pursued righteousness and justice. That was Job. Me, Job, you know. And verse 4, you see I again, all the itis. I put on righteousness and it clothed me. My justice was like a robe and a turban. By Job, you know, this one. Put on turban. But you look at this, I put on righteousness. It is self-righteousness I put on. And it's all because of his good works. So he decided that all the good works I have done, I'm righteous. Therefore, I'm righteous. And he clothed me. He understands this, you know. He was like, my justice was like a robe and a turban covering my head and also over my body. Now, what do we have? What do we have? We deserve nothing. But the robe of righteousness is imputed upon us. It is placed upon us. Not we put it on ourselves, but it is placed upon us through who? Jesus Christ. It is not our righteousness, but His righteousness. So when God looks at us, He doesn't see the sin in us, the sinner in us. He sees the robe of righteousness that Jesus Christ has placed upon us through His sacrifice on the cross for us. And God said, innocent, innocent, not guilty, forgiven. It is not I place, it is not you place. You see the contrast? So that's why Job is still in need of correction. And the whole book of Job is not about, I repeat, like I've done in the past, it is not about suffering. The whole book of Job is about repentance. Lest we end up in this moment of self-righteousness like Job. Verse 15. I was eyes to the blind, and I was feet to the lame. See, blowing trumpet again. See, you can't see right. I become your eyes. Job, you are a dog, huh? They got guide dogs, right? He was helping the blind. Okay, commendable, good works. And I was feet to the blind. So you can't walk. I help you, I carry you, whatever. But we thank God that He has given us good health. Do you understand? We thank God that we are here this morning and not in Changi Hospital. We thank God that we can see, because some people cannot see. So we thank God that He has blessed us so we can bless others, so we can help. But don't boast and blow your own trumpet like this guy called Job. I was father to the poor. Father, that means provider, right? I provide for them. I look after them. And I search out the case that I did not know. That means if you got any complaint, any legal case, whatever, Chief Inspector Job, I will do the investigation. I will check it out and then fight for you. You know, I'll fight for you. I'll defend you. I search out the case that I did not know. I broke the fangs of the wicked and plucked the victim from his teeth. understand? Pull out your teeth, make you bogey. Yeah? And I tell you, it is not dentistry. He is not a qualified dentist. But what he's saying is, whoever throw darts at you, whoever come against you, I will break its power. I will break its attack over you. Me, Joe, that's who I am. And not exactly very humble. He was, unlike what we read in Matthew chapter 6 verse 3. Matthew chapter 6 verse 3. Actually, just now we read, and he plucked the victim from his teeth. I thought normally should be, you pluck the teeth from the victim, right? Oh, okay, pluck the victim from the teeth, whatever. But still very painful. Matthew chapter 6 verse 3. But when you do a charitable good deed, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, that your charitable deed may be in secret, and your Father who sees it in secret will himself reward you openly. You know what it means by don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing? Of course you know. How can you not know? Same hand one, you know. But it means whatever you do, do it forgetfully. Means once you have released it, whatever you have done, forget it. Don't talk about it. Don't brag and you know what I did. You know what I did. Well, I pushed the person on the wheelchair across the traffic light yesterday, and I'm going to do it again tomorrow. You watch me, you know. Forget it. You know, just move on. That is what. Okay, one more. 1 Corinthians 13. 1 Corinthians 13. Though, verse 1, though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels, but have not love, I have become sounding brass or a clanging cymbal. So then you question, so all this that you do to help others, are you doing out of love? Or it is just show, just a demonstration? So this guy is really a bit puffed up. And someone wrote, when you are so wrapped up in yourself, it is a very small package. Right? When you are so wrapped up in yourself, it is a very small package. But I read another wisdom writing. This person wrote, health, wealth, and sleep must be interrupted in order to be appreciated. So I look at the thing, and then I thought again. Health, wealth, and sleep are best appreciated when interrupted. Health, you know when I appreciate my health? When I was really on my back in the hospital, hanging upside down, legs up there and so on. Wow, I was looking back at those days when I was like a monkey, jumping from one rope to another rope, do gymnastics so strong, do skiing and everything. But now all along, my slip disc is really hurting me. I can't this, I can't that. Right? When you are down with infection, or you think of the days when your temperature was well, you got strength in your bones, and you can go out and run a marathon. Right? It's when you miss it, then you appreciate it. Well, when you have plenty, you feel like buying the showroom cars, you book a property every weekend and you buy this and that. You don't seem to miss anything. But the day all this comfort is taken away from under your feet, and then you realize, wow, you thank God even for that spoon of rice. You understand? And you sleep. If you just sleep and sleep and sleep, you are comatose, you understand? You are comatose. you really don't appreciate. But when you wake up and you don't have enough sleep, then you realize, hey, I need a rest. Then you appreciate rest. I need the 7 hours, the 8 hours, or whatever of rest. I cannot run like a machine. So these are the things of life that we need to appreciate. And so, God is teaching Job a lesson so that he will appreciate his health and he will appreciate his wealth that God has given him in the past. Now we go on to verse 18. Then I said, I shall die in my nest and multiply my days as the sand. You know, he's thinking of the twilight days of his life. He sits under the coconut tree, you know, and die in his nest, meaning he will die in his home. Everything is so well planned and thought out. But little did he know, he might just die amongst the ashes out in the dump. He never planned it that way. But his plan is, he was being a bit presumptuous. That everything worked out so well. I got it made in life. You know, when I retired at 62, I got enough CPF money. Now with MediShield Life and Pioneer Package, wow, you know, last me until 92. You know, by then I'll be dying in my nest and multiply my days as the sand. That means sand means a lot, right? Wow, I will live to a ripe old age. I am self-sufficient. So we see the word I, now we see another word my. I mean, we have been seeing my. So my root is spread out to the waters, and my dew lies all night on my branch. Here he is giving the picture of a tree. And a tree that has got deep roots is healthy. And a tree that is deep-rooted and near the water is even better. Well nourished, you understand? So, my root is spread out to the water. I have a very well nourished tree. It is near the water, well supplied. And it will be fruitful because I'm near water. I will be fruitful. And not only that, my fruitfulness will bless other people. And the dew lies all night on my branch. If you go to, you know, hiking, camping or whatever, what we like is in the morning got dew. If you really run out of water, you know, you can drink, you can take taste of the dew and so on. And we read Psalms 133, right? And the dews from Mount Hermon and all this come out. It is refreshing. My tree near the river will provide for you, will benefit you. He's talking about himself. Okay, that's Job. He's saying that I have it, man, I have it. Verse 20, again praising himself. My glory is fresh within me. My glory is fresh within me. He is talking about internal strength. Internal strength. My glory is fresh within me. In his retirement years, and my bow is renewed in my hand. And if you have been reading, bow has always been related to life. Okay, your life. Whether your life is strong, is long or short, or you have a weak life and so on. The strength of your life. And my bow is renewed in my hand. So this is external vigor. So we have internal strength, glory that is within me, and my bow is renewed in my hand. So outside, right, like Robin Hood, pull the bow, my external vigor. Now he also talks about, because now he is in his retirement years, he's looking at the twilight years. That means life. He talks about life. So that means I have got children and grandchildren. I've got posterity. You understand? It is well and good with me and my household. That's what he's saying. I've got it made. So, you look at Luke chapter 12, verse 20. What did Jesus say to this guy? Luke 12, verse 20. Luke chapter 12. This passage here from verse 13 to 21. Luke 12, 13 to 21. It is about the rich fool. The rich fool. You know, he told Jesus, I need renovation. I need extension. I need expansion to my barn and everything, right? So Jesus said to him, "Fool, this night your soul will be required of you. Then whose will those things be which you have provided? You have built up so much, you have accumulated so much, you can't take it with you. You will leave it for others who did not work for them." You understand? That's why Jesus said, "Fool, this night your soul will be required of you." And the same thing, even as Job was bragging about all that he has done and looking forward to his retirement years, golden years they call it, he's a fool. Okay? We should send our treasures, not keep them here, but send them out. Okay? Build up your POSB account out there. Verse 21. He said, "Wow, people come and seek me for advice, okay? I am the chief counselor. Men listened to me and waited and kept silence for my counsel." I envy him, man. Because sometimes I counsel people, but they keep interrupting me. You know why? They like to say they are right. They say, "But you don't understand. My situation is different." Hey, hello. You came to counsel me or you came here for counsel? You understand? You have people like that. They come and ask you for advice, but you say 2 words, he say 5 words. He interrupts, but you don't understand. Okay. For these people, I'm very good. I shake their hands, I say, "God bless you." Bye. I don't have time, okay? Because you are of your own opinion. But they kept silence for my counsel. After my words, they did not speak again. You know why? Because they're satisfied with my answer. My answer is the answer. Yeah? The textbook answer, whatever. Mine is the correct one. Yours can't be right. Okay? They did not speak again. And my speech settled on them as dew. You understand? Now you understand what is dew? Dew means refreshing. Oh, I came here so heavy-hearted. But when I heard you, I feel so refreshed. That's what it means, dew, refreshing. And all this, he's describing himself. He's not third party describing him. So he's blowing his trumpet. They waited for me as for the rain. If you have been to Israel, like we did, first thing they tell us was what? Pray for rain. If you are in the desert, in all this arid land, you desire the rain. So as much as they desire the rain, they desire for Job to speak. Oh, I'm wanted, you understand? Not by the police, but I'm wanted by people who want to listen to me. And they opened their mouth wide as for the spring rain. Latter rain. Spring rain is latter rain. And he went even further. Hey, if I make fun of them, they won't even get upset with me. That's what it means. If I mock at them, they did not believe it. And the light of my countenance they did not cast down. And the light of my countenance, okay, the good thing about Job is his countenance is bright. That means he is not down, depressed, and so on, but he was joyful. Okay, the light of my countenance, his countenance encouraged them. That's what he means. They did not cast down. I chose the way for them and sat as chief. Okay? Just now he was just taking the seat at the gate, one of the leaders. But now he said, I am boss. I chose the way for them and sat as chief. Not enough. I'm also the army chief. See, I dwelt as a king in the army. I'm commander-in-chief, like Obama, commander-in-chief of the army. So I dwelt as a king in the army. As one who comforts mourners. People who mourn, I comfort them. Not like my friends. Job is trying to say, not like my friend. Because if you look at Job chapter 2, verse 11. Job 2:11. His friends, they came from far away place, right? Eliphaz, Bildad, so far. Verse 11. For they had made an appointment together to come and mourn with him, with Job. And to what? And to comfort Job. But they didn't comfort me. They didn't comfort me. But I used to comfort mourners. That's what he was saying. So he was having a good life, right? He was having a great life. But at the back of his mind, he still had some anxiety. He had some worry. How do I know? You turn to chapter 3. Verse 25. Chapter 3, verse 25. When, in chapter 3, when Job started his complaining and so on, Job chapter 3, verse 25, if you remember, we read this a couple of months back. For the thing I greatly feared has come upon me. By that, calamity has hit his family. And he said, for the thing I greatly feared has come upon me. And what I dreaded has happened to me. I'm not at ease, nor am I quiet. I have no rest, for trouble comes. That means when he was prosperous, when he was having a good life, he was also worried. He was also anxious. What if one day all this collapsed on me? You understand? And it really did. It really did. So don't look at all the rich people, the tall buildings and houses they stay in, and the big, great lifestyle they're having. Don't think they're happy-go-lucky. Because the more they have, the more they worry. Right or not? The stock market, the interest rate, the property market, and this and that as well. The more they have, the more worry. We say US, the richest nation in the world, but they also got the biggest military outfit in the world, right? Because the more they have, the more they need to protect. And there are terrorists who are not happy with them. But you go to a small nation in Africa or somewhere, a village in Thailand, Indonesia, they don't know. They know the sun rises, the sun sets. Relax, do the harvest, come back, eat, got rice, got vegetable. They don't even need to go to the shop and buy anything. You understand? So the anxiety they feel, people who are living abundantly, but not in the knowledge or full knowledge and will of God, they do have a concern. So what does God look for? Let's look at Psalms 51 verse 17. Psalms 51 verse 17. Because for Job, it is like Cinderella, and then midnight struck. You understand? Then the dream is over. Cinderella was having a party, and then at the strike of 12 o'clock, go home. The sacrifices of God are a broken spirit, a broken and a contrite heart. This, O God, you will not despise. So what God was looking for in Job and also in us, Psalms 51 verse 17, He's looking for a broken spirit, a broken and a contrite heart. Contrite, you are convicted, you feel repentant and so on. You acknowledge your faults and so on, contrite. But do you see that in chapter 29? Do you see that in Job? Not yet. He was still talking about his past. So that is chapter 29.